The Modi government has entered the last lap of its term. Here we're going to look at some of the promises made by the HRD ministry and how many of them have been met. So the last 1 year of the HRD ministry has been the most productive. They have spent this time in fulfilling the promise of providing more autonomy to institutions of higher education. They've mainly done this through two initiatives, the first being a new law which provides more academic and administrative freedom to the Indian Institutes of Management. Secondly, there's also a new UGC regulation which provides different degrees of autonomy to different institutions of higher learning. In the last 4 to 5 years, the Indian institutions have performed pretty poorly as far as the global rankings are concerned. To address that, there is a new UGC regulation in place to help 20 of the country's best institutions to help them break into the top 100 of global rankings. The government has decided to help 10 public and 10 private institutions do this. The 10 public institutions will also receive financial assistance from the government. They have launched this platform called Swayam, through which they have been offering free online courses by some of the best faculty members of reputed institutions. The Modi government too has started a bunch of new institutions. They have launched 7 new IIMs, 6 new IITs and new ISERs. They have set up a new higher education funding agency to provide 10-year loans to institutions of higher education to fund their infrastructure needs. On the school education front, there were 2 significant decisions taken: the construction of toilets across all government schools in the country. The second being, the ministry had codified certain learning outcomes based on which they have conducted the first government nationwide survey of how much kids of classes 3, 5 and 8 have learned. The government has brought back the class 10 board exam. It was optional earlier, but from this year it has become compulsory again. They have extended the deadline to train teachers. Another promise that was made was to set up a monitoring mechanism for the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. That promise was met in the first year itself. They have set up a portal called Shagun to monitor the progress of the scheme. Had it not been for the cabinet reshuffle, we would have probably had a new education policy in place by now. But once Smriti Irani was moved out of this ministry and Javadekar was brought in, he decided to start everything from scratch. A new panel was created and that panel has actually missed 2 deadlines already. The minister has assured that there will be a new policy in place before the next election. This was also one of the major manifesto promises, to actually set up a higher education commission which would subsume all the 3 major regulatory authorities in higher education: the UGC, the AICT and the NCT. The National Testing Agency is close to fruition. The government has already appointed its head. It is expected to conduct the new UGC NET this year. This agency is envisioned as an authority which would conduct all entrance tests for higher education in future. This is one decision of the Modi government which has been pretty contentious. That's the scrapping of the no detention policy. Educationists are not happy about it at all, but the government seems to have relented to pressure from the states. In the union budget this year, the finance minister announced that the ministry will be scrapping the 2-year B.Ed program and replacing it with a 4-year B.Ed program. On education in its manifesto, they promised to increase the public spending on education to about 6% of the GDP. The public spending on education, in fact, has come down since 2012-13. Even central universities, which come directly under the purview of the ministry, there are as many as 40% of the teaching positions vacant across all central universities. The following promises too have not seen any progress over the last 4 years. In hindsight, it seems that the HRD ministry lost a lot of time initially firefighting controversies, many of which were of its own making. It also does not help that the party keeps drafting in cabinet ministers to campaign for state elections. A lot of time is lost in election campaigning. Work has picked up in the last 1 year, but it seems like this ministry still has a lot of ground to cover if we were to look at its manifesto promises.